is Paris on Politics from Fox 32 Chicago.
Governor Pritzker, which way will you go? A controversial bill awaiting the governor's signature could mean Chicago taxpayers forking over billions more in taxes over the next 30 years. While almost nobody was looking, the General Assembly passed a bill that would boost the pensions of Chicago police and fire workers and have absolutely no way to pay for it. These workers are considered Tier 2. You see, around a decade ago, in response to Illinois' jarring pension crisis, lawmakers passed a law reducing future pension benefits for new hires, since the state constitution would not let them touch the pensions of current employees and retirees. Now a bill sponsored by State Senator Robert Martwick would claw back a lot of those reductions and force taxpayers to foot the bill. And that is one hefty bill. Civic Federation President Joe Ferguson estimates it'll cost billions over the next 30 years, $60 million this coming year alone, and then it'll peak out at $750 million a year by 2055.
This is adding to the city's burden at literally the worst possible time. It was introduced formally with language the last week of the session in Springfield. There was a quick hearing called on it in which the city CFO, Jill Jaworski, testified with some initial numbers that they were crunching at the time. And then that was it.
No matter that these pensions are severely underwater and are perennially on the verge of bankruptcy, despite the billions taxpayers already pour in. Never mind, the city and state are already grappling with yawning budget deficits, with the recent Trump budget bill about to blow those holes even larger. Civic Federation President Joe Ferguson says the proposal is nothing more than a giveaway to public employee unions that have a stranglehold on lawmakers. So this bill is potentially a lose-lose-lose across the board. Wait, you tell me? The younger police and firefighters win with better retirement plans, right? Not if there's no money in those accounts to pay all those benefits. And now Governor Pritzker is in a tough position. Does he risk alienating police, fire, and frankly all public employee unions by rejecting what they've lobbied for? Or does he go along and stick it to Chicago taxpayers who are running out of life rafts to throw at city and state leaders for their appalling fiscal management? A spokesperson for the governor today told me he is still reviewing this matter.
Coming up on Paris on Politics.
Potential GOP challengers emerge to take on Governor Pritzker. We tell you who they are. State Farm Insurance is set to raise rates on Illinois homeowners by 27%. Why some are calling on the General Assembly to take action to stop it. And the majority of Illinois children are living in areas at risk for deadly lead poisoning. What parents need to know.
This is Paris on Politics from Fox 32 Chicago.
Welcome to Paris on Politics. Governor Pritzker is all in on a third term for governor, but he won't go unopposed. Several names are already in or are circling the wagons, mulling whether or not to throw their hats in. Chief among their concerns, can a Republican win statewide, and can they beat a Democrat with very, very deep pockets? Chicago journalist Shia Kappas wrote about it this morning in her Politico Illinois newsletter, and she joins us now via Zoom with some more. Hey, Shia, good to see you. So let's list some of these names you wrote about. James Mendrick, the sheriff of DuPage County, Joe Severino, Aaron Del Mar, Ted Dabrowski. These are four names that are either in or rumored to get in. Let's start with Sheriff Mendrick. What do we know about him?
He is county sheriff, DuPage County Sheriff. He's retiring from that position, and he and his wife decided they want to do something for the community. So back in February, he said he wants to run for governor. Since then, he's raised $127,000, which isn't a lot, given you've been in running for all those months, but the campaign season hasn't kicked in, so we'll see where that goes. He's kind of a law and order type of guy, I expect, compared to the other candidates who could get in. It'll be fun to see where he goes.
Well, I know he's no fan of the Safety Act and then of some of the sanctuary policies, and we've talked to him about some of that stuff before. All right, how about some of these other folks? Joe Severino, Aaron Del Mar, Ted Dabrowski. What do we know about them?
Joe Severino ran for Congress twice, once as a Republican and once as an independent in the 10th congressional district. He's a financial guy. He's all over social media at a time when people, are hoping that social media might be a way to get attention to your campaign. He hasn't put in his paperwork yet. He told me he will be. So he has declared himself online as being in the race, even though the paperwork's not in. The other two candidates, Ted Dabrowski and Aaron Del Mar, they are both in the we're thinking about it very seriously mode. They're talking to establishment Republicans who would endorse them. They're talking to potential donors before they jump in. They want to, if they're going to jump in, they want to make sure they have all the infrastructure to do it. And that's what they're doing right now.
Certainly they're going to need that. I know Ted Dabrowski has done some work with the Libertarian Illinois Policy Institute, kind of a wonky guy. Aaron Del Mar is the Cook County Republican Party chairman. He's been active in Republican circles for a while. Shia, when you talk to experts here, does anyone believe that the right Republican might stand a good chance against Governor Pritzker? Because think about all that you're going up against. An off-year election where the party out of power usually does better, an unpopular president at the top of the ticket in Donald Trump, and a governor with deep pockets.
And plus, he's an incumbent. That is, when I've talked to candidates and potential candidates, they said the biggest challenge is he's an incumbent who hasn't made huge screw-ups. So people kind of like him. That's hard to get past in any kind of campaign. The other thing, like you said, is big pockets. A lot of the big donors who used to be in Illinois for Republicans aren't around anymore, but there are Republicans who do give, and you've heard of some big fundraisers around town. Money will be an issue, but you're right. Going against a guy who's a billionaire, I don't know how much money you can raise to go against that kind of person. Well, however, again, we're in a time when social media could play a bigger role this time in 2026 than it has in the past.
Certainly money is not the only factor here, although there are Republican donors in Illinois with deep pockets like Dick Uihlein and some other folks. You just wonder whether they want to get involved here. How about some other names? Darren LaHood, the congressman from Peoria, has been thinking about maybe the Senate seat vacated by Durbin, maybe this seat. Darren Bailey, who ran 4 years ago. What about them?
I talked to Darren Bailey. He's still trying to figure out what he might do or not in 2026. He hasn't decided. He still has plenty of time. People don't have to start gathering signatures until August. Darren LaHood is a big question mark. It's not likely that he will run for Senate. Could he run for governor? Maybe. I think a lot of people think, why would he do that going against the challenges that we just talked about in terms of money and incumbency that Pritzker has? Plus, Congressman LaHood has a really powerful position in Congress. He's risen up the ranks. He has the respect of the higher ups in the Republican Party at a time when the Republican Party is in power. So I see him staying there. But it'll be fun to watch.
Certainly, it seems like he has kind of a safe district there in Peoria. All right, Shia Kappas from the Illinois Politico newsletter. Always good to talk to you. Thanks very much.
Great. Thank you.
And up next, homeowners across Illinois not happy with State Farm Insurance, but the company says it's all about the math. Stay tuned.